Hey, I'm Weekend Gabe, and you're checking out Weekend at Gabe's, and thanks for checking out this latest episode. While you're here, also follow us on these social medias at Weekend Gabe, at Weekend at Gabe's, and also at The Real Sam Crane. Thanks for checking us out.
Let's hit the reset button real quick. You're checking out Whoa, too much shit going on. You're checking out Weekend at Gabe's, Weekend Gabe, The Real Sam Crane. Don't forget to follow us on these socials at Weekend Gabe, at Weekend at Gabe's, and also at The Real Sam Crane. We are in the middle of Sports Week. Sam is not doing so great with his fantasy football, but maybe our next guest might give him some tidbits to help him get out of the loser circle. We'll see how it goes. But joining us now, friend of the show, his second time back. Let's get an air horn for him, Sam, because there's not he's in rare company of people who've been on this show twice. I'm talking about Ken Davis from NBC Sports Chicago, and also that Davis podcast. Good evening. How are you?
What's going on, Gabe and Sam? How are you both doing this evening?
Doing good, man. Doing great.
We are great. I wish you guys could all see below this camera of what this jersey shouldn't look like. So I'm glad you guys are just getting the part that fits me really well. The rest of it looks like thank God for the magic of video and TV.
I'm sure it's sexy, Gabe. I'm sure it's sexy.
It's disgustingly sexy. Yes, you're right.
Exactly.
Thanks for joining us. Congratulations again. You joined the NBC team earlier this fall or during the summer. How's that experience been for you? Because I know Ken and also Demond's when you guys were doing D and Davis, you guys were in this dream of being in sports media here in Chicago, which is a huge hurdle to do. And here you are, you arrived. How's that feeling been?
Oh, it's good. I think I started in March. Listen, the guys are great. I'm over there with one of my closest friends, former intern turned producer extraordinaire, Tony Gill. Had lucky enough to have Eric Strobel and Alex Shapiro. And on Wednesday shows, we have Adam Hogue from NBC Sports to break down the Bears, our insider. On Friday shows, we have Siafa Lewis from NBC Chicago, the lead at sports anchor there. We had a great episode today that drops tomorrow. Actually, because I forgot on Wednesday's show, I made it a point to bring up the John Gruden situation on today's show. So make sure you check out just that discussion. Hopefully it's an open-minded discussion. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, I understand. But I still had to just stress my point on how I felt about it. And I felt like I neglected the listeners because I forgot to bring it up Wednesday.
Absolutely. I'm definitely interested to hear that.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Sam.
I'm going to start this off purely selfishly, Ken, because I had a fantasy football snafu before we came on the air today with our good friend Damian Williams, who has now been exposed to COVID-19 and likely will not play Sunday, which absolutely tanked my fantasy team's chances in this week's matchup. What happened there? You're in the media. What exactly went wrong? Because things were looking so great, and then they all fell apart.
I don't follow Damian Williams around his house and around the facility. I don't know how he caught COVID. I'm concerned, though, Sam. I'm slightly concerned with Damian Williams and Khalil Herbert in a way splitting carries, how he was going to win you this game in the first place. I think we need to get to that point, and we gotta scour these waiver wires. I need you to pull it up. Let's look at this waiver wire and find you a running back ASAP. All right, ASAP. Go. Listen, you got to make a decision. Whoever may be running for the 49ers, all right, because their running backs go out every other week. All right, so go check out whoever's doing it. If you can pick up
right now,
if you can grab, because think about it, if you can grab Khalil Herbert, Herbert.
No, the worst part was, Ken, is that I literally found this news out right before we're about to go on air, and I was like, oh, let me go grab Khalil Herbert. Okay. Turn around. My matchup picked him up.
Oh, that's slick right there. That's a devious match. Is this person a friend, or is it just the person that's in the league?
No, he is my good friend, and to his credit, he said that he didn't have any fancy insiders, he didn't have any fancy information. He was in the house, and his dad walked through and said, "Y'all running back not playing Sunday," and he said, "What?" and then went and got Herbert immediately. So that was while I was eating pizza tonight. So yeah, I the cookie crumbles how it will, but that certainly was a disappointing part of my thing. And you're absolutely right. I need to get a running back. I may as well trade one of these receivers I got sitting on the roster.
I mean, wait. Who do you have? What type of league is this? Is this 2 running backs in a flex?
This is a 1 running back league, 2 flex.
So it's got to be there's 2 flex. Oh, okay. Y'all freaky with y'all's. Wow, that's interesting. I never played that way. I see all the options that it gives you. Yeah, you got to go scouring for a running back. But so wait, who's on your bench?
My bench right now is real thin because Dallas Goedert of the Eagles also got COVID, so he is on my IR along with Jerry Jeudy, who is on my IR. But
whoa! You still got Jerry Jeudy on your team right now?
No. He takes up an IR slot, which is outside of the bench. So it's like,
Oh, so you get to keep. So wait. You get to keep him on IR and add another player?
Yeah.
What platform are y'all playing this on?
Sleeper, man. No, that's a pro tip. That's a pro tip. We're gonna have to get into that off air. Sleeper app is absolutely the way to go. Miss me with this ESPN Yahoo stuff. We don't deal with that no more.
This is interesting. This Sam. That all right. That's different.
My one thing that I'm hoping for this week is it looks like there's gonna be a healthy Julio Jones. So I'm gonna push that out and hope for the best. I know it hasn't worked thus far this season.
I almost grabbed him. So I'll tell you what I've been doing. This, and I'm right now. I'm 2-3. I smoke. Shout out to my man Cal Means, who just got hired at NBC on the desk. Look, I didn't smoke. I thought I was gonna smoke Cal last week, and the weeks before, I faced my old partner D and my producer Ryan, and I ran them both down. And they went to sleep thinking I won, and then Monday night pushed them forward. D held up to it. Ryan doesn't want to, but I was whooping Cal 184 to like 90. Right, Sunday night, 184 to 90. I'm like, best case scenario, he maybe gets 60. Right?
Yeah.
Why? So the next night, I'm whooping him 184 to 92, I believe. Why did he run me down and he had 182 points to my 184? Because he had Lamar Jackson and he had Jonathan Taylor. He almost ran me past me, which that would have been so embarrassing. All right. It would have been so embarrassing. But that, like, I'll tell you real quick what I've been doing and kind of break out of some of my old habits. And it's funny when you brought up the Jerry Jeudy thing. I've been getting rid of anybody who's not doing anything. Like, because in the past, I have an affinity for holding on and maybe he'll pop. Let me go back and grab him later. Let me, ditch him. There's no reason to, like Julio. I was going to pick up Julio today, right? But then I started thinking about it. Even in Atlanta, and we looked at it a lot because of Matt Ryan, the last few years, Julio really hasn't been consistently giving you fantasy wins. Yeah. And I love Julio Jones, but I love him to death. So I was going to grab him. Now, I mean, you look at it because A.J. Brown is still out. Is A.J. Brown playing?
A.J. back. They both back.
So that's the problem to where I still look at Ryan Tannehill going to A.J. Brown, and like him and Julio, it hasn't matched. He could pop. But, I don't want anybody in my lineup unless I'm bare bones and I don't have anybody that may pop. I need guys that, worst case scenario, you're going to maybe get me 10. So, I had Logan Thomas and Hunter Henry. I didn't really get a strong tight end package, but I still took Logan Thomas fairly high for a tight end. And he went down, right? So at first I picked up Tyler Conklin, and this was 2 weeks ago. And the third game,
Conklin was a good pickup. Yeah.
Yeah. But look, since he's been on my bench, he hasn't snapped. But the crazy thing is, outside of not being able to pick up New England's defense last week, I've been getting everybody that I want on the waiver wire. I don't think these cats are paying attention. And sometimes I didn't pay attention. Now I'm on the waiver wire. So I picked up last week, Devin Knox. I picked up Emmanuel Sanders. Was that this week? I can't remember. But I picked up Devin Knox, and Devin Knox went off the tight end for Buffalo, right? Mm-hmm. He brought me 30-something points. And it was just what I needed, right? It's just okay, so that's really kind of what I've been just trying to do is sometimes you think you're taking your heart out of it, or you're taking, I drafted them, I got to stick with them. It's fantasy. They're not producing, toss them. Go. And if you expect that they're gonna start producing, they're injured, luckily you can stash them on the IR, pick them up a week before. You think they're going to come back and do whatever, but don't hold on to them as like it's like the greatest player of all times, and you're afraid somebody may pick it up. Which still, but that's kind of what I've been doing, and hopefully, it starts to benefit me. And if I said anything that was relevant, hopefully it'll benefit you.
No, definitely. I've been taking some notes, so I'm gonna try and dig myself out of this 1-4 hole.
Yeah, you have to. It's early. It's early. You
you're right. You know what? You're right, Ken. It is still early, and I still got a chance. But I want to let Gabe get a question.
No, I told him there's still a lot of games left, so he'll be all right. Speaking of games, let's talk a little bit about our Chicago Bears. They're on. Are they 3-2? Right, coming out the gate. Going into this rivalry.
Somehow 3-2. But yes,
I know. Crazy out there. Well, I mean, the Packers could easily not be 4-1 too. So they blew that. Cincinnati just gave them that win. Anyways, but there's been a lot of crazy stuff going from the beginning. Andy Dalton going down. Now it's Justin Fields' time. The run game has greatly improved the last couple of weeks with the inclusion of Damian Williams, despite Demo going down as well. Just summarizing these 5 weeks, there's been such a roller coaster of events of it looking bleak, looking kind of hopeful. So what have you been seeing or things that stand out to you as what this change and shift of the Bears from the defense improving to the offense now showing some light?
Okay, just from a macro point, it's good, but it's also upsetting. We had 2 weeks ago, we had on the Friday Siapa episode, we had Alex Brown on, and we were talking, and to a point, we started to realize why Alex likes Ryan Pace. So he's like, yeah, I know him from 10 years, and that hit me. And Siapa was like, wait, and I said, wait, he was a personnel guy down in New Orleans when you went down there, right? Because he used to give him Ryan Pace an escape. And I asked Alex, I said, listen, if it was me and I was in a situation with Ryan Pace, I would have to tell Matt Nagy something has to change, or you're going to either be let go and there's a chance it could affect my job security, right? And Alex said that that's basically not what a GM shouldn't interfere. You hire basically that professional to do their job, basically. And I was inferring as far as Bill Lazor taking over the play call. I disagree. And it was funny because on this week's episode, we revisited that subject and everyone disagreed, right? Because the proof is in the pudding. And clearly somebody told Matt Nagy, I mean, yes, we know him and the players had a meeting, and I'm sure that definitely influenced them, and I could be wrong. I don't have any information to think that Ryan Pace, who played football, even though, well, not in the pros, but at least college at Eastern, wouldn't say this worked last year, we need to go back to it. I think would be silly. But this is where it's upsetting. It's upsetting that we started off this year like this in the first place. And I didn't want Justin Fields to start. And I was wrong that I didn't want him to start the season as the starter in fear of the Rams. But then it hit me. No, I was right, because Matt Nagy was calling the plays. So Justin Fields shouldn't have started, because we've seen – just think about what happened with the Browns.
That is a very, very good point.
Think about what happened with the Browns, what would have happened to Justin Fields facing the Rams on opening night. All right, when you're not changing anything at halftime or making adjustments during the game from quarter to quarter, right? Like they would have hurt him. They would have brutalized the young gentleman, right? So I'm happy now he's getting the start, and it's even more that Bill Lazor is using the offense's strengths so far, and he's not trying to be sexy. He's trying to be efficient, and he's trying to win football games. So now it's good. But I feel like we keep vacillating with the Bears like this. Like, for instance, so the draft, it was all peaches and cream, which I'm happy that we here in Chicago got peaches and cream when it comes to our football, because very rarely do we get peaches and cream. And then your tackles get hurt, and people start realizing, well, wait, maybe, and I didn't understand, and I'm not the Charles Leno fan club. I just didn't understand why to release him. I get Massey, all right? It's a right tackle. It's easier to replace right tackles. I get Massey and letting Tevin Jenkins or Larry Bourne, but Tevin Jenkins, because he's the second-round pick and people had him in the first round initially, letting him start at right, see if, one, he could play right, And if he plays it well, like you usually do, then you move the guy over. This is for guys who played right primarily at college. Now, if he was an excellent left tackle, of course, and sometimes people still put good left tackles at right in the pros, you know, and they may switch him. But he wasn't even a left tackle. So you made that mistake, and that's when things started to be like, But we kind of still was drinking the Kool-Aid. Then when Tevin Jenkins is hurt, and after practice, and it becomes apparent where he's probably not going to be healthy by the start of the season, then he has to have a surgery. Okay, that's on Ryan Pace. But getting back to your question, Gabe, I was upset. I'm happy. I'm cautious. And going into this game, it's going to be interesting with a team that can score, an explosive scoring team like the Packers, what you're going to do when it seems like week by week you're trying to open the playbook more up to your rookie quarterback, where you may need to pull out about 4 or 5 pages this week. You know what I'm saying? Just to try to get some chunk yards, because you're talking about Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers. You're talking about Aaron Jones. You're talking about Dylan. I mean, and they're humming. I mean, again, the Bengals, and we know the Bengals aren't chumps. You know what I'm saying? Like, listen, the Bengals were close to coming back to the Bears. So y'all fools made a point today that really, if Joe Burrow got the ball back, you have to look at what happened after those 3 interceptions, after 3 consecutive passes. He started clicking again with Jamar Chase. You know, like, so I like Joe Burrow is nice. Don't get it twisted. Joe Burrow is nice.
No,
right?
for sure.
So I mean, so you look at that how we found out that the Bengals are a decent to good team, and then they almost took it to they should have beaten the Packers. So there's a chance to beat the Packers. I don't think the Bears should be blown out. And on top of that, the Bears defense is balling, to be honest with you. Like, I don't think anybody can say at this point. I don't think you can say at this point before the season we thought they played as good. Now, I bet you we didn't think by the first couple of games that they would be like this. I mean, to get the pressure that's on the quarterback, and thinking about the pressures that they got last weekend, and Akeem Hicks hasn't been out there for 2 weeks. He played 1 series in the Lions game, right? He hasn't been out there for 2 whole weeks. And usually Hicks goes down, it's some issues. You know what I'm saying? And they haven't really gotten ran on, even though Detroit ran more efficient than the Raiders did, but it hasn't been where you're getting gashed and then it's setting up play action. They've been playing well. You haven't seen the bungling in the secondary that you have. I mean, the fact that Robert Quinn is just out there doing the dizzle. And you used to look at Robert Quinn. He's been known as a pass rusher and not a run stopper. He's even out there. You see him cleaning up runs and assisting on runs. So defense is really playing well right now. I think we'll have to judge it again after this Green Bay game. If they can do what they did, and I'm not saying that this is 2018. If you can go back to the opening game in 2018, where all you needed the Bears to do was score, because they had stifled the Packers, right? All you really need, remember, they hurt Aaron Rodgers, he's limping around. Like, if they can play like that and get into the 20s, they have a good chance to upset the Pack. But in my heart of hearts, I don't have them beating the Pack, and I would love to be wrong.
I'm glad you brought up the defense, because I actually felt the opposite way of you. I feel like I've been more sure of the defense in past seasons, and this season feels like I don't know about that other safety. Eddie Jackson, that's a Pro Bowler, but I don't know about that other safety over on the other side. I don't know what's going on over there. But the coordinator, I think, is worth talking about, because he's fairly inexperienced guy. And after week 1, I was like, does this guy know what he's doing? And he has corrected the ship a little bit, but does he have the gas to keep it stable across the entire season?
I don't honestly know. I mean, because he's a rookie at this position. What would I say? I'll say yeah. And I think this game will tell us a lot. I would say, and I won't say this about Bill Lays. I'll use Matt Nagy as a play caller. You've seen adjustments in Sean Desai's defense. I mean, like, listen, I don't know why. You know what I'm saying? But you see stunts. All right. And for anybody to know what a stunt is when one guy goes this way, another guy goes that way. But you see it, but he's doing it with Robert Quinn and Khalil Mack on the same side of the ball. Instead of looking at it as far as, all right, this is where we're at, we're just going to play straight up. No, you have these weapons. Use your scheme and their talent, not just their talent. especially because they're getting older. You know what I'm saying? And they're hurt all the time. It's football. You're not right. You know what I'm saying? If you look at the injury list today, and most of these guys are going to play, but just how guys were limited this week from injuries. You know what I'm saying? But I think Sean Desai's doing a really great job. I said earlier in the preseason, and it's funny that Justin Fields mentioned this with Matt Nagy talking about Bill Lazor, as far as saying that he feels Bill Lazor can be cool-headed when calling plays because he's up in the box. As soon as Sean Desai had that preseason game and he was on the field, I said he needs to get his ass up in that box, because on that, when you're sitting there on that field, you're feeling the emotions and you're feeling the hype. And you need to be analytical when you're drawing up what's taking place. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like he's done, for him to be a rookie, he's done an excellent job so far. This defense right now, and it's still a small sample size where we're entering the second quarter of this year, it's playing better right now than I feel like any Chuck Pagano Bears defense played over the last 2 seasons.
I agree with that. I agree with that. That's for sure.
We only have a couple minutes left, Ken, but I want amazing 25 minutes went by really fast.
Sorry we did so much fantasy, Gabe. I didn't mean to do that to you.
No, that was me. I needed that.
It would have been nice if either of you would have invited me, but fuck Gabe, right?
I didn't know. I wish you had told me that you were looking. I would have thrown you in, man. I didn't know.
Hey, we got you next year.
I would have thrown your ass in. I would take your money. I would. Why wouldn't I take?
Yeah. Why wouldn't we take your money, Gabe? That's a good question.
I know I would have won at least one game, Sam. So relax.
Hey, I got one under my belt. Don't come at me crazy now.
But before we get out of here, it's still much of a long season to go. I really want on Justin Fields' progress. We see some incremental growth, but he also got banged up a little bit last week in Las Vegas. What do you think the sustainability of his time as the starter this year? Because I see. I don't think that we've seen the last of Andy Dalton.
You haven't. No, because I think the point. I think what you're trying to. What you're saying, I feel like is close to fact. He kind of doesn't know his way around physically the NFL just yet, right? And there's been like 3 times just from how he steps. You're like, ooh, that hurt. I think especially Gabe, as us being somewhat older. When you see someone, you're like, oh, ooh, right? Like that. When he stabbed his leg, it was like, oh, snap. And you're like, yeah. I'm thinking like, wait, don't tell me that we're going to finish the season off of Andy Dalton would be the quarterback, and we're going to have a whole year talking about what could have been with Justin Fields. That was my thought when he was hurt this past game. And then you go back to the Bengals game when he broke out, when he got the first down, and when he went down, he had an awkward way. And it's like your kid, Gabe, where it's just like, you can't, Oliver, you can't step like that. You know what I'm saying? Like you tell him like, no, you can't. When you're walking, you got to move like this. If you're on some ice, you can't, like, for instance, like on ice, you got to step. If you go try, like, you're gonna bust your ass, right? And it's like that where Justin Fields, to me, and it's in my opinion, he has to kind of learn because of the speed and the strength of these players. He's not playing Big Ten players right now that take off when you have the opportunity to take off. All right. I know you want to be young Russell Wilson, and I want you to win from the pocket. But when you have that clear lane, do not hesitate, because it's not college and you don't get 2 more seconds to then decide if you want to run or not. You have to hit that gap and go. I think he'll be healthy for the most part, but I do think, Gabe, you're going to see Andy Dalton again because it's the NFL and just look at what we've seen with Derek Carr, right? Derek Carr was out for a second last week. I brought up Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow got chopped in the neck. Hit with the neck. I was watching that game. He was laid out. It was like, is he okay?
Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah, man. I thought
you're
he
gonna
was dead.
Yeah. So it just off of that, and he's a rookie. Yeah, I think you're going to see Andy Dalton. Hopefully, it'll be a situation closer to what it was, or maybe even a half, and then Justin to be ready to go. Hopefully Justin doesn't get hurt. But yeah, I'm with you. There's a chance you're definitely going to see Andy Dalton again this season.
2 quick questions before we let you go, Ken. The first one, I'm gonna say yes or no, and then in the second one, I'm gonna let you freestyle it. So the first one, excited about the move to Arlington Heights if it happens?
No.
Perfect. I love it.
I would do it
and
the way I would do it if it was my franchise though, easily. Not even,
Right.
I would have been on the stadium.
Word. And then if they do move, it looks like they're going to. What would you like to see happen to Soldier Field?
The only problem with I would want some. The only problem is this. So, what team is going to come to Chicago and then not own their own stadium? What expansion team, right? Would be like, you see, this is the problem. Why would Shad Khan be like, and I believe that's Jacksonville's owner.
Yeah.
Why would he be like, you know what I need? And why he has a stadium down in Jacksonville? I need not to own my stadium, right? I need, you know what I need? I don't need field turf. I need grass, right? It's the sloppy grass that high school teams play on, and they have concerts and MLS games on before my team goes out there, right? It would be nice to me if the city could come to grips with fundamentally what Soldier Field is used for, and that's definitely events, that's MLS, but primarily, come on, it's a football. We look at it as a football stadium, and would give majority ownership to a team, give a team 80% perhaps, and also do something to fix it up with the team though, not all my money going to it. And you should have a team. You should have two teams in Chicago. We should have an AFC team here in Chicago. Do I think it'll happen? I don't know about that because again, I don't know if it makes financial sense for someone to come and let the city own the team. Also, that team probably won't be as worth what the Bears are. That team, just because it's an NFL team, won't be worth 3.5 without its own stadium. Just because the Bears are worth that, partially because they're the Bears, is why they're worth that much. Now, imagine, of course, you're talking about moving to Arlington, how much they're going to be worth when they own their own stadium and they're already 3.5. And in 10 years, that 3.5 is going to be probably 4.2 again before even owning the stadium, just from it appreciating or whatever. But I do want another team here if the Bears move. I don't know how it's going to happen and if they're going to play a Soldier Field or not, because again, if I own the team, no city's going to own my stadium. I want all my money.
Yep. I love it. Those are good ideas though. I'm with two teams in Chicago. Let's make it happen.
I'm with it, but yeah, I want to see Soldier Field just redevelop, but they already poured $500 million into it, so I don't think that they're gonna be like, yeah, let's restart and do it again. Right. People can. I think we're stuck with what we got there for a while. So either way, all right, Ken, thank you so much for joining us. You can follow Ken on these socials at That's Davis, and also subscribe to that Davis podcast, and check him out on NBC Sports Pod for the Chicago Bears. Man, congratulations again with your time, and thank you for not including me in your fantasy. I really
real quick. I think when the last time I was on here, was that when D was on here with me?
Yep. Sam wasn't on.
I don't think I had the
board yet.
I was about to say, I don't think, Sam, I hadn't had the opportunity to meet you. I just want to say nice to meet you, Sam.
Yes, nice to meet you too. I hope to see you again very soon. Hopefully at the end of the year with a Super Bowl ring.
Oh, that ain't happening. All right, Gabe.
Oh, appreciate your time.
He's left. Ken, enjoy the rest of the evening, man. Appreciate it.
You too, man. Thanks.
All right, Ken Davis, Sports. For our continuation of the week, I'm glad you got all your tips in. Good luck, Sam, this week. Hopefully you can running back.
Listen, with all of Ken's tips, I may only lose by 2 points this week.
The thing is like 10 points, 2 points, 20 points. A loss is a loss, and you got to eat that. So hopefully it's on more on the front side.
Hey, I'm Weekend Gabe. Thanks for checking out this latest episode of Weekend at Gabe's. Click on any of the links swirling around my head, and also hit the subscribe button while you're here. Thanks for checking out us here on YouTube.